Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back for another accessibility overview video again. Accessibility overview and impressions video. This time we're looking at a game called Immortals Fenyx Rising, and this is kind of an open world action adventure kind of a game. It is from Ubisoft, and it kind of reminds me. There's a lot that kind of draws from things like the Legend of Zelda series, especially Breath of the Wild and some of its mechanics and stuff. Um, and it's about this interesting take on Greek mythology. But we're not going to get into a whole lot of the game here today. Instead, I want to show you some of the accessibility features in this Ubisoft game. And again, full disclosure here, I was actually provided a review code by Ubisoft for this game, so they were kind enough to give me a review copy in advance of the game's launch so I could take a look at some of these accessibility features and try them out in game and let you guys see these videos. So thank you again to that. I will still give my honest opinion, so here we go. First thing, if you're low vision or blind, one thing that's really nice.
Tutorials. Options.
Just like the last couple of Ubisoft games I've looked at here this fall, we have text-to-speech, and in this game it's actually quite good. Now, I will say right up front to those who are totally blind, I would not consider this game totally blind accessible at this point. There is a lot of text-to-speech. There are some nice audio cues for some environmental objects, like you hear like a kind of a humming sound when there are certain power-ups and things that you can pick up, that kind of a thing. But as far as navigating this giant open world, and it is big, that is not, I don't think, possible without some sighted assistance. But I do want to go under options here, as I've done in the last couple of games, and I want to show you the variety of accessibility features that we have here. There's really not much
Display.
under display. This is just your graphical settings, your resolution, your window mode or full screen, that kind of a stuff.
Graphics.
Graphics, there's not too much in here as well. This is really just your graphical quality, texture detail, all that kind of stuff. But if you go down to the bottom,
Screen space reflections. Ambient occlusion.
you can turn some of these features on and off. So, like bloom lighting, sometimes that can, especially for low vision, that can make things a little bit harder to see if they go really, really overboard, especially during like a sunset or something that gets really reflected. There might be a couple options you may want to play with there as far as quality or turning features on and off. Controls, we do have customized controls. We have full bindable buttons here. I'm playing with the keyboard and mouse. That's primarily how I've played. I've tried out a little bit with the Xbox controller, but I've primarily just used PC keyboard and mouse so far. So we have that.
Customized aim action. Hold.
And we also have
type for the aiming action.
As you've seen in a lot of these other open world Ubisoft games here, we have a lot of ways we can toggle between button presses and holds for various actions like aiming.
Apollo's arrows. Heracles' strength cancellation. On release. Long jump action. Hold. Active input device. Auto.
And we can choose
active input device.
We can choose our active input device. So if we want to have our controller, if we want to have our keyboard and mouse, or it'll just auto detect and I can switch on the fly, which is really nice.
Gameplay.
Here's where we get into some nice customization. So,
difficulty. Story.
The nice thing is,
difficulty mode tweaks gameplay
you can toggle your difficulty at any time, and I've been bouncing back and forth because I do want to see how the game plays on various difficulty settings and how that affects, different puzzles and combat and things like that. Now, this one, it seems like you only have the one difficulty setting per se. Like you don't have combat difficulty, puzzle difficulty. That I kind of like. That's been a trend I've seen in a few other games. That would be really nice, especially for a game like this that does have quite a bit of combat and quite a bit of puzzle solving. So I'm not really a puzzle guy. Like, I can do them, but I'm not really great at them. So I would prefer that to be on lower, but maybe I would have the combat a little bit higher. So that would be a nice thing to have. But you can... I've been bouncing between basically... I have story, there's easy, there's normal, and then there's a couple higher difficulties. I've been mainly bouncing between the first 3 difficulties so far.
Aim assist. Assisted mode. Defines aim assistance behavior for controller input. Assisted mode. Full assistance and clear snap. Default. Partial assistance and limited snap.
So this is really cool because if you're playing with a controller, not so much on the keyboard and mouse, but the controller, both for, I would say, physical and motor disabilities, and even for vision, if you're having trouble seeing where enemies are coming from, you have a lot of, you can toggle between snap and more of like a manual aiming, which is really nice. So that's, sometimes I might want to use the controller for that just because it is easier to snap to enemies. So you can customize that.
Photo mode. On.
Photo mode, I'm going to turn that off for now just because I don't need it on right now.
Camera follow. On. Allows you to toggle the camera to follow the main character by automatically changing its rotation angle.
So again, you've got some camera control there, and that'll be really helpful for some people.
Puzzle feedback. On. Provides directional visual feedback for triggered events in puzzles and myth challenges.
Now this is cool because for puzzles, I said there was only one real difficulty, but you can turn these other different assists on where, especially for puzzles, there are different types of puzzles in these games, and you can kind of be given more or less visual cues or assistance, hints, that kind of a thing.
Constellation Myth Challenge. Compass and 3D icons.
I'm trying to remember if I've encountered those yet.
Appear for Constellation Myth challenges. Fresco Myth Challenge.
Oh, I've done a few of those.
Saliver and trims. Defines the type of assist.
So those are basically your block pushing puzzles. Gotta spend, I remember those used to be a huge thing back in the 90s and early 2000s. God, I got so sick of those. But we haven't seen too many block puzzles as of late, so.
Myth Challenge. On. Allows braziers to stay lit after failed attempts as long as Fenyx stays on the hero stone.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. So these are, there are some of these archery puzzles, sort of a thing, where you're manually shooting the arrow and you guide it through, you have to guide it through a series of these little hoops, and this just makes those puzzles a lot easier.
Puzzle captions. Off. Provides text and visual cues for gameplay-oriented events in the game.
Okay, pretty self-explanatory there. So there's your gameplay.
HUD.
HUD.
HUD preset. Default.
And I can
Preset.
choose
Default. Light. Disabled.
light or disabled, or
Light.
I do wish that they did have more of a true
HUD preset. Default.
like, because they use a compass in this game, I wish they had what they did for Valhalla specifically, where they actually had, I could make this black opaque background or a dark background for the compass, because I found in Valhalla that was really helpful, since that's the navigation mechanic they used.
Quest objectives.
I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's a lot of different things of the HUD that you can turn on and off, from
Quest objective celebrations.
quests and combat notifications, like off-screen enemies. I mean, there's literally, it looks like about a good 6 or 8 of them here, and then there's also some additional stuff down here.
Hero health. Hero stamina. Abilities. Potions. On.
Right, so I can toggle whether I want to see, like down here, you see the example screenshot on the right here. Depending on what you're doing, you'll get different, like your potions that you have available or any abilities that you have. that you can use. You can show or hide all of these elements of the UI, and there's a whole boatload of them.
Interaction module, contextual actions, on.
Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory here. HUD, and then we go to sound. We do have sliders for your master volume, your sound, music, and
voice volume.
Voice volume. I kind of wish they had that boost mode. That was a really cool kind of feature that they added into Valhalla. That's kind of a neat thing. I'd like to see more titles adopt in the future. Now we also, of course,
menu narration on.
Menu narration, and we have, not only do we have menu narration on and off, we have
menu narration pace
or speed,
and 10% menu narration voice.
Male or female. It defaults
allows
to female.
You to choose between male and menu narration volume. 64%.
And I downed it for a little bit on this video just because then it would be easier if I was talking and it was starting to blab. It wouldn't interfere with each other as much. But I love even going from Watch Dogs to Valhalla to this, just in a couple of short months. You notice that we went to a couple of very basic, like slow, medium, fast, to now we have a full slider.
Menu narration pace.
And now we have a ton of customization on the speed. So kudos, and they did that so quickly. Like I said, I played 3 Ubisoft titles this fall, and it's been really fascinating just to see even the subtle improvements as we've gone on.
Audio dynamic range. Music frequency.
So I don't play with those too much. I don't know quite what those do so much. I haven't played with those. But there you go. Again, we don't have an accessibility menu. They're basically encouraging you, hey, these might be features that you want to use in a game. We're not going to label you as accessibility because some people either won't look there or they'll just think, oh, well, accessibility, that's not for me. But yeah, so they just include them into your visuals, your HUD, your sound, all of that kind of stuff. So here we are in the open world. I'm on this tower here. Again, we're not going to show a ton of gameplay here, but you see the interface. I've got my potions in the lower left-hand corner. It tells me how many of them I have. All of the text in these games, or in this game, is pretty good. This is where I can change my I can change what my character looks like. Let's find another station that has something more that I can. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Yeah, here's our cauldron.
Use ingredients to craft potions.
What's really cool here, and I've seen some subtle improvement. Even from, I think the first one I played was Watch Dogs Legion. And going to Valhalla, I've seen a little bit more, and I'm seeing even a little bit more here. Narrated menus, text-to-speech in a lot of these user interfaces, and it's working pretty well. So I can hover over any of these potions that I want to craft.
Potion. 2 out of 8. Required Olympian Fig. 6. Craft unavailable.
Craft unavailable.
And abilities for 90 seconds.
So it
plus 20% damage.
It tells me what I need. Let's do another one here.
Health potion.
I can craft this one.
Out of 8. Required pomegranate. 5. Press left mouse button to craft.
Okay.
Hold right mouse button to craft max. Refills 3 health chunks. Cannot be used while full.
Oh, okay, I'm already full. Okay, so, and again, that's cool. I'm already full of them, so it tells me that I can't craft, and it tells me why that didn't work. So a lot of these interfaces do talk. Oh yeah, a little cutscene. All right. Craft us some health potions. All right, so let's go into our menu here because I do want to talk about a couple other things. Now, you have 2 different views of the map. You have this colored in version, which is when you find one of these, again, you're in a Ubisoft game, you got to find towers and reveal basically the map for a specific area. They're colored in, but when you start, they kind of start with this more of this white, black and white color here. This is an area of the map that I have not yet explored. We got another one up here that I haven't explored, but I've unlocked 2 or 3 different big zones already. So I've done quite a bit in the game. What I will say though is I kind of find your arrow for your character, I find it, especially if you're near other icons, I find it's a little hard to see, and it blends into the map a little bit. So some kind of contrast or differently shaped arrow, different color, something that would really stand out and not only show you exactly where you are, but what direction you are facing. Because a lot of times I will be trying to, let's say I wanted to go to this tower here or this main point here so I could unlock the map in this area. I want to know, or if I'm going toward a specific objective, I just usually go into my map real quick and just see what direction I am facing, and that's a little bit harder to see. But one thing that's cool is if I do hover my mouse over
Epic chest.
Epic chest.
Epic chest.
I got to go back and collect some of this stuff because I've been mainly focused on exploring and unlocking the area.
Myth challenge.
There's a myth challenge.
Chest. Ambrosia.
Ah, yes. Yeah, see, I got a lot of stuff I got to go back into this. This is the first area where you start the game.
Ambrosia. Ambrosia.
So not all of the areas speak, but some of them will.
Myth challenge. Epic chest.
Where is, let's see.
Myth. Epic chest. Ambrosia.
And it will tell you
Epic chest.
if there's a place that you can teleport to.
Messenger of the God.
Wait, do it again.
Messenger of the Gods. Hold left mouse button to fast travel.
Right, so I could fast travel there if I wanted to. So again, it is really cool that the text-to-speech is starting to work a little bit more. If you were making this game totally blind accessible, you would want a linear way to navigate this map, some way that would make sense without being able to, move your mouse all around to see where things are. But again, that's something that can come in like a future title or a future update or something. But nice improvement. Again, I've been seeing a lot of just little subtle improvements in the last couple of Ubisoft games. We have our inventory here, and again, very helpful.
Sword of Achilles. Level 2. 32 damage. Plus 33% damage with sword combo while health is full. Next, refills 80% of a health chunk on perfect dodge. Press left mouse button to change skin. Press right mouse button for customize. Blue adamantine shard. 1700. Red adamantine
in other
shard.
games, they haven't read as much of that detail. They may read the item, but they don't read you the stats or the description. Immortals is doing a pretty good job of reading me most of everything that I want to do. So I have these 3 weapons I can choose from.
Cyclone. 22% chance to triple damage with sword air combo. Next, Departed Shade. Plus 33% damage for 6 seconds on perfect dodge. Sword of Achilles. Plus.
And if I go into something else, now if I hover over something that's grayed out, it doesn't tell me that it's grayed out. It just doesn't say anything, which might be a good thing to have. Like, hey, there's something here, but you can't do anything with it yet.
Valor of the Soldier.
But if I go to my armor,
Level 1.
I've got 2 armors I can choose from.
Robes of the New Olympian. Plus 1 to health chunks. Next, Valor of the Soldier breastplate. Plus 1 to stamina chunks. Next, minus 10% stamina.
Yeah, tough call, health or stamina. And some of the things I've been doing, I've needed a lot of stamina lately. But yeah, so your inventory does work, and down here, all your resources, if I hover over them.
Health potion, 3 out of 8. Stamina potion, 3 out of 8. Attack potion, 2 out of 8. Defense potion, 2 out of 8. Potion upgrades. Press left mouse button to open.
Oh, I haven't even looked at this yet.
Divine Reflect.
Oh, yeah. I totally missed this earlier, so this is a mechanic I just have to check into. But yeah, I have essentially skill trees from my potions, so I can upgrade how effective my potions are.
Health potion. Refills 3 health chunks. Stout Vitality. Increases health refill to 6 chunks.
Oh, I think I will...
Golden Amber 3.
Oh, I don't have
Visit
enough.
The Cauldron of Circe to upgrade potions.
Okay, I got to do it through the upgrade thing. Oh, interesting. Okay, I can't do it in this menu, but I can do it in the... I will have to figure that out. Okay. But yeah, so all my potions, look at that. I have all these different skill trees here, and if I hover over them, they read. Which even as a low vision user, not having to read all this text manually, depending on how large the font size is extremely, extremely helpful. So excellent on that.
Quest items.
So we have quest items here. Let's go to our another screen. Here we have our other main upgrades. So we can...
Skills.
We have skills.
Godly powers.
Godly powers.
Skills.
But if I go in here again, these are all separate skill trees that I can customize. So I want to upgrade my bow, my sword, my axe, different upgrades and abilities. I hover over any of them.
Axe combo. Left shift, left mouse button, left shift, left mouse button, left shift, left mouse button. 2-hit combo that deals 53 damage and 80 stun per hit. Circular 2-hit finisher deals 66 damage and 100 stun per hit.
So visually it shows me a little animation of what that attack is going to do, what it's going to look like, and it even gives you a description. Oh, this is a circular attack that blah, blah, blah. So again, just it's reading pretty much everything as I would want it to read, which is great. And now we're back at the map. So overall, I found this game to be pretty accessible. Again, I kind of wouldn't mind having, I mean, the compass isn't too bad because you got that dark line and you have the icon. So this is definitely more visual, low vision friendly than other compasses I've seen in different open world games. So it's not, the background might be a good thing to add, but it isn't bad. Seeing things in the open world hasn't been too much of a problem. The main part where I've really had a little bit of issue is figuring out what to do in some of the puzzles, because again, you're looking at these giant 3D open world environments, and a lot of the puzzles are just kind of, it's not, here is your specific puzzle room. You can't go anywhere without this, you have to solve this puzzle in this room and then you can move on. A lot of the puzzles are not like that. There are some, but some of them are just like, okay, here's this giant temple structure, and there's a whole bunch of doors that you have to get open, or there's a bunch of force fields, or there's some orbs that you have to play with, and there's just all these little different pieces to a puzzle all around this temple that you have to figure out. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky for me. I'll hit a switch and go, I don't quite know what that did. So I found some of the puzzles to be a little bit tricky, just mainly because I'm obviously overlooking something that other people might be able to see a little bit easier. It's a beautiful looking game though. I love the art style. I love exploring the open world. The combat is fun. I just think that, like I said, I'm not good at puzzles really to begin with, so that's kind of my weaker point. But that's where I have had a little bit of trouble seeing exactly, or figuring out. I've talked about those arrow puzzles. If I bring up my bow here and I hit E, I do this. I use my stamina. You see that blue meter to the left of my arrow that I'm guiding manually. It'll go as long as I hold down the button and as long as I have stamina. But these puzzles where you have the open world and you have to go through some of these little hoops, to light them up, just figuring out where the heck you're supposed to fly that thing can again be a challenge. So there's a lot of trial and error, and I'm glad that there is that assist in the options menu to say, hey, as long as you don't get off of this platform, which a lot of these arrow puzzles are, it won't unlight the other one. So I can kind of more freely fly around and figure out where the heck I'm supposed to manually aim that arrow. So that is kind of an overview of, I know it's a little bit longer, but I wanted to kind of, again, just show everybody the variety of accessibility features in the game, a little more concentrated toward low vision, but you know, this game, again, Ubisoft has been doing a great job of even making subtle improvements to accessibility from the games that came out earlier this fall. So, you know, who knows, next year when they come out with their new suite of games, I'm very curious to see what progress they make for low vision accessibility. They got deaf and hard of hearing down pretty good. They have subtitles. They have control options. They have HUD options. You know, I'm just very curious to see, like, for me, the huge breaking point is going to be, okay, when is a game like this going to be pretty much playable by a totally blind user? And I think it's going to happen. You know, I think with things like The Last of Us Part 2 and just some of the improvements that Ubisoft and other companies have been making, I don't think we're going to have to wait too much longer to see one of these types of games be playable. So hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, definitely give it a like. Thank you again to Ubisoft for the review copy of the game. I will be doing a full spotlight video here and releasing it soon as well. But you can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. So again, hope you found the video helpful, and until next time, I will chat with you guys again later.